Welcome to the Seraphine Podcast. I am Seraphine Arocha, and today we have Jennifer McAtee. Hello.
Hello.
I always say I'm so excited to have the people I am here because I'm genuinely excited to have these conversations. But what's interesting about this one is I think it's very fitting that we're ending, quote unquote, my season. This is the last podcast of my year, 2020, with you, because I feel like if there's anyone that I've spoken to this year that has completely turned her life around for growth and bringing in newness and trying out new things, it's you. So we're going to just jump right in. And Jennifer has opened up a business during one of the most stressful times of year. She's just opened up this wonderful wellness place called Recharge. And it is considered in is it Crossroads?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I want to know, how difficult was it to open up a business during this time?
Very, very difficult. Least to say, I was supposed to open back in March, March 30th to be exact. Had to postpone. I got back from New York from training on some stuff, and then life turned upside down. And here rolls November 7th, and here we are. Wow. And so, least to say, the most stressful part was knowing I had a beautiful place, beautiful building, sitting there, and just having to look at it. And I was like, you know what? Life's got to get back to normal at some point.
Yeah.
So
November 7th was your opening date?
That was my grand opening on the first Saturday in November.
That's so crazy. So this has been a big year because, again, this is when you really start to think about, for myself, I was kind of in what I call a holding pattern. I had been teaching 7 to 10 classes a week, doing yoga, Pilates, bar. I had my rhythm, and I honestly was kind of feeling stuck. So, I started the podcast over the summer, or actually towards the end of the summer. And time's gone so quickly. And my marriage has seen ups, it's seen a lot of downs, but we've seen a lot of ups, and we've had to make a lot of changes. And, I feel like, I've had a lot of conversations with people where they're like, you either get made or broken during tragedy times.
Yes.
So it's interesting because on one hand, this is you got a divorce this year, but then you opened up a business and has started like a phoenix rising. How was this year for you?
This year was very, very interesting. Like we'd mentioned, I think all three factors have taken place, as in getting divorced as of today, actually, finalized, stamp on the paper and all, which was hard to swallow. Then on top of it, losing, a loved one. Yeah. And
your
then,
grandma, right?
Yes, that's the person that was like my right hand besides my mother. So not only, having those two factors, a divorce and, being a single mom, basically. Whoever thought I would be here being a single mom, raising two beautiful young girls, and taking that on has been very, very hard. And running a business, it's like I feel fail some days, I feel like I'm all over, and my goal is just to be steady for next year. I just want to be steady, have it rolling, everything. Like I have my goals for, the 6-month, year plan, 5-year plan, where I want to be. And eventually, I would like to open another location and get this business up and rolling how it should.
What a beautiful time capsule to have for your daughters, though, because I do think when, I went into this thinking about, we have these 45 to 50 minutes of me sitting down with somebody and being able to take a snapshot of where they are exactly today. And then it's out there in the universe of social media. But the beauty of it is that you can actually have this beautiful little time capsule to show your daughters and be like, well, it wasn't the easiest year, but mom got through it, and then look at the business, how it's grown, and, see where we've come from. So I guess what I'd like to start out with is, when you decided to get into health and wellness, what was the motivation behind it? Because I know you have some people in your life who are struggling with some things, and I'm so interested of what motivates you to try and heal people.
Yes, no, that's a great question. So what got me started actually was back in my youth days, playing soccer, since being 5 and up my whole life, playing club, being competitive. And we didn't realize back then like how important recovery was. So just being an athlete and finding all the revenues and what outlets there is that can become from recovering. Oh, it's not just going to the trainer's room, or getting stretched out. And then long behold, lupus runs. So when you said I have close loved ones, well, you just answered it. So there you go, is having the lupus that runs very strongly. As we all know, it's a genetic disease. There's no cure out there for it. So not only did I lose 2 great aunts, and as of this November, I lost my aunt 9 years ago, and my mom comes from a large family, so that was the first sibling for them. And then my mom got diagnosed about 8 years ago, probably for that. And so having that lupus and being in the background of seeing what can we do, if there's no cure, how are we going to do this? Yeah. I'm not going to lose my mom. 5 years ago, she got really, really, really sick, down to 78 pounds. Looking at her, I couldn't even look at her. It was forcing her to get her healthy. And I got a job opportunity at one of the great, biggest health and wellness for infrared sauna industry, and learned all about the infrared industry, open commercial locations all over the world. And one of the first health and wellness studios in New York opened, actually. And I was like, okay, why is everyone just opening not only just infrared studios, but what other technologies can we use to help our bodies? And long story, here we are with my mom has in her house. And if it wasn't for her doing this religiously 5 times a day, we had to work her time up, work her minutes up. It's literally changed her life. She's off almost all medications now. She was on 22 medications. She is off almost nearly all of them. She can work out 5 times a week. She looks amazing. She has her strength back, and that was our goal. We need to get you your strength back, because if you do get sick again, we need to see how this is going to go. We can't have you not have your strength to get up, sit down, anything. In infrared, what's so interesting about it is a lot of people don't understand the difference between a traditional sauna, is that hot, convenient air around you, versus infrared is heating the core up. It's all internal. So it's heating your core up at a cellular level by 3 degrees. So you're getting a false fever, technically. So COVID, here we are,
right?
Which is great. I'm essential for that, because it's fighting off bacteria, essentially 8 sessions. Can I not cure you? No. But essentially it's going to help you. And so I'm very passionate.
I love to learn about this. So by heating from within, is it, and it's kind of tricking your body to have a fever, is it in turn increasing the immune system? Is that what it is? Or is it what kind of describe it?
Yeah. So no, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So it's heating that core up, like I said, by 3 degrees. So therefore you are getting that false fever. So when we do get a fever, if we're sick or so forth, I don't have my girls take any medication unless it's going to spike. My youngest, I think it spiked once. That's the only time she's ever taken anything, and it was Tylenol. So example by that leading is let the body fight off the natural bacteria. That's what our body's meant to do. Let it fight off, because that's what infrared is doing. It's giving us that false fever to fight off bacteria, build up that immune system, essentially. And so healing from the gut inside out. And as we know, our gut connects with everything in our body, and our gut to our brain. And then not only is it, just the infrared, there's 3 wavelengths in infrared. So you have far, which is heating that core up at a cellular level. Then you have mid, which helps with anti-inflammatory, autoimmune diseases, hence the lupus.
Yeah.
So anybody can have Crohn's personally. So gut inflammatory is huge. A lot of athletes get for muscle recovery as well, to get that all recovered faster and on the field the next day. And then you have near infrared. I know I'm throwing a lot at you.
No, I love it, because where I'm at is I'm thinking about GI doctors, because my husband works with a lot of doctors, and I'm thinking about why more GI doctors wouldn't, GI doctors, if you're listening to this, pairing up with someone like Recharge, to where, they're referring them to come in and treat whatever it is on top of whatever, they're seeking medically. I think it's really interesting, because I feel like, it can be, when we're going health and wellness, I think a lot of times we are thinking way too much about aesthetics, because people are like, well, I'm sweating it out. It's a calorie burner. for instance, when I was using the Normatec equipment, you know, again, it's like, oh, I'm getting like a massage from these. Actually, it's increasing blood flow. There's actual responses your body is making that is above and beyond the just, again, going in a sauna, sweating it out, or getting a quick massage.
Yes.
So when people walk in, I want to describe it to you guys. It's beautiful. It looks like it's in this like aerial spaceship above this cool gym, and they have this gorgeous salt rock wall that's amazing. It's got this gorgeous glow. They have like these beautiful glass bottles filled with cool water. They're always cognizant of the needs of where you're at. So the questions you asked me in the beginning of like, well, what is it that you actually need? And like, I love the first experience I had with the sleep. Can you talk about what I like to call the sleep machine?
The sleep machine, everyone. Who doesn't want a power nap, right?
Yeah.
So New Calm, that's the proper name for the power nap machine, as we would say.
Yeah.
So I tell everyone it's technically your first time. You probably will not fall asleep, to be honest. It's like a deep relaxation meditation. That's what it's for. So it's actually neurology based. So it was invented for people who have extreme PTSD. Tony Robbins got it huge. You can be in the loudest environment, and technically you're not supposed to be able to hear. So it's all, you have on your wrist, the combination between the biosignal on your wrist, which has GABA in it, which your body naturally already produces when you go to sleep. So having the biosignal, the 20-pound weighted gravity blanket, which is amazing, and the zero gravity chair turns, along with the JBL speakers, and then the New Calm app itself. And that's all neuroacoustic. So what I mean by that is, like, as a song, we can all follow those patterns and wavelengths. The neuroacoustic, you cannot follow at all. It's meant to actually just relax you. So funny story, a lot of men actually fall asleep snoring. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, you know, they don't believe me.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, okay, it's time to get up. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like their mom, like, hey, we got to get up.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are benefiting, you know, from that. And a lot of people to realize, oh my gosh, how important sleep is, what it does for our body. I had a gentleman come up from the gym, all on pre-workout, was like, okay, let's try this out. Let me try this. He's like, I got 4 hours of sleep, was out cold. And it's just so great to see and to help people.
Yeah.
It feels amazing.
You know, it is a testament to you and being a mother that you created something that is mothering to the body, and the way that you welcome people from the moment I walk in to the way you just, again, it's like the mom you wish you always had, who's like, honey, are you doing all right? And checking in, and I just felt held from the moment I came in to the moment I left. And I mean, me and my husband now, it's so important for me to have this element in his life as a constant practice. So we ended up joining immediately. And, you know, I'm trying to get him to go in at least once or twice a week. Right now, I'm lucky if I get him once or twice a month, but that is the goal. And he just was, he's a hard guy to convince, because his wife is a yoga instructor, and he's like, okay, what are you going to convince me with your positive affirmations and all of that? And he literally looked at me and was just like, oh my God. He's like, I feel just better. I feel lighter. And the other thing I found which was really interesting is I'm a little claustrophobic. So, you know, I've always done more of the what do you want to call it? The cabin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cabin. But the pods are like, I don't even know how to describe them. So you're laying down, and just think of like a sleeping bag that obviously is a little bit bigger, and you pull it up. And again, if you're a little claustrophobic, you can push it down and you can allow your body to kind of wiggle into it. But it is so not that way. It is absolutely like,
it's a cozy blanket. That's what I tell everyone. It's like, imagine your cat sunbathing in the window.
It is.
It's just like, it's so cozy, because you have the 5 infrared heaters on the pad and 4 in the dome. So essentially you have 9 infrared heaters surrounded by you. So it's the same as the cabin. Yeah. But you just feel you can put your AirPods in, listen to a podcast, or just zone out, which is a lot of times essentially what a lot of people do, and people that are claustrophobic usually hate going, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can't go in this, you know?
Yeah.
And then when they get there, they're like, I didn't feel claustrophobic at all.
No, it is an experience. I'm so glad you brought this to Kansas City, and our again, when people come in, you are talking them through the why behind it. I think a lot of people see, like an Instagram story, or they have an idea of what it is. But the fact that you can really attest to each thing that you have available, and again, what I like is your hand tailoring for each person. Like, well, what is it that you need? And the time, like, I think a lot of people think like the longer the better. And a lot of times all you need is an hour, 30 minutes with one, 30 minutes with the other. Or if you're like me, who's like, I'm going to stay all day long because I never want to leave. It's just, you've just done such a great job. So now going forward, what do you see, that you'll bring additionally? Because I know we talked a little bit about some things.
That's a great question. So hopefully coming earlier spring, I can bring on a couple more technologies that'll be great. As we all know, I don't have cold in there besides our cold essential towels that I offer, which have been a great hit. So I'll launch those 2 new products hopefully early spring coming.
That's going to be really exciting.
Yes.
I'm excited to see the business grow. Now, from a standpoint of advice, for people who may have been on the fence about going forward with an idea for business, a big change in their life. You've had a lot of big changes this year.
Yes.
And although I know that, on one hand, the doors are open to the business and the divorce work is signed today, that's still a lot to process, and you're doing it really, really well. So
thank you.
Advice to people who may or may not be going through similar things, in terms of maybe opening a business, or maybe a loss of a relationship, or a loss of a family member. What pulled you through it, and what's pulling you through it each day?
No, that's a great question. I'm like, some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this. We're going to kill it, and the next days it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like a disaster. It's like, Jen, get your stuff together. But it's like, that's okay. I've realized it's okay. I go to therapy. Love it. 3.5 years. And I'm going strong. No shame. My girls are in it. I think it's the best decision we've ever made. Keeping my faith there, my religion, that is huge for our family. And I just feel like, what? It's okay to have bad days. Yeah. If you don't have a bad day, then you're not normal. There's something going wrong. Like, it's okay to have a bad day. Yeah. And I'm like, I've learned, people are always going to judge from the inside out. And from the, but goes back to that old saying, oh, judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? As my dad's always said growing up as a little girl, people are always going to judge, Jen. Who cares?
Yeah.
You don't need it. And it's like, I try to remind myself in my head over and over, and I've learned to just play that and lean on the support system I have. Thankfully for my family, me being super close to my parents, having my girls, I'm like, at the end of the day, it's like, I will make sure they see, what's good and what's not good. And look how far moms came. Like, I've hit my rock bottom, but guess what? You have to pick up and keep going.
Yeah.
And especially for them. I think that it's so important that they were there seeing the building made. I have pictures, from scratch down, up to night. And it's like up and down. It's just like, okay, they see the framework. They see what all it puts in there. And, Mom, what's work? This isn't work. You're just talking to people.
Love it.
So I think just setting that by example to them has really just kept me going.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I want to see, hey, don't give up.
Now, it's
not the end of the world. It's temporary.
Yeah, it is.
It's all temporary.
And you do it. I mean, my favorite word, my word this year has been grace, like doing things with grace. And, and again, it can be referred to as a religious word. It's the name of a really amazing girl that's friends with Aaron. Well, more than friends, ladies. We'll see if the next podcast, if Gracie gets a wind who he is in real life. I'm kidding, Aaron. But grace in general, when I think about a word that, a few people in my life have really showed, and I'm gonna say to you, you're doing it with grace. Whether you're feel like you're fucking failing, or you're killing the game on that day. It's just nice to be able to sit back and learn and observe that, you know what, we don't always have to show up like perfection, because
No.
it's such bullshit. And you know, your daughters need to see that you can have not a perfect day.
Yes.
And you can do it gracefully. So this, I mean, can you believe Christmas? By the time this
No.
airs, we'll probably have passed Christmas. What does this holiday season feel like for you? Like in terms of just like,
One, I didn't even realize Christmas was this
Yeah,
week.
right?
I look at the calendar and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Here we are. So it was just like, holidays have been interesting, you know,
Yeah.
being, you know, separated with her dad and
Yeah.
getting them on a routine. And it's like my business, you know, I'm like, I want to grow. I want to do better. What can I do? You know, and thankfully for having those people, like, you know, you, Giovanna, just having good people surrounding yourself, and like my family and friends. So holiday, I was like, wow, it doesn't even feel like Christmas this year.
yeah.
And it's like, wow, I'm just ready for this year to be over. Let's go.
Right? It's a tough one. Now, on that kind of tough note question, has your daughters asked you any questions that were like, how the fuck am I going to answer this?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, Mom. Why can't I, you know, why can't we just all live together?
Yeah.
I'm confused. Like, well, you know, a 6-year-old says, I'm confused, Mom.
Yeah.
And I said, it's okay, honey. I get confused all the time.
Yeah.
I said, but what can I do to help? You know, or they'll ask me
Yeah.
things like I don't even know where they heard of, or at school, come home saying words. And it's like, I did not raise you like this.
Yeah.
Where are you learning these words? And it's just, I didn't realize how to answer in a 5 and 6-year-old little body things that we forget that are so basic, or were, you know, as being a kid. And it's like, whoa, I don't know how to answer you. And I just respond, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Because, you know, they don't understand. If we ask them why, start questioning why. That's the worst way to go about asking somebody, I've learned. You don't say, why do you feel this way? Or why, what's going on? 5 or 6-year-old can't understand that.
No.
And they don't comprehend that as we might think they do. So they act off emotions. And so I've learned just to hold them.
Yeah.
Just to hold them and show them love. That's all we want. This building them at their foundation. This is going to go the rest of their life.
I think that's such great advice. And the other thing I realize about you is you're a really good listener. And I think a lot of people don't do that. We're so interested in problem solving, especially, you know, if kids are involved. It's like, okay, let mommy tell you what to do. You know, let me solve this, make the boo-boo better. You know, and a lot of times it's just like, whether you're 5 or whether you're 50, sometimes all we need is someone to listen and to let you know it's okay. We're going to get through this, and talk to me more about this, and let me get back to you, because I wish
don't
I
know
knew
the
the answer.
answer. Yeah.
Right? And maybe I'll come up with it, maybe not. Maybe you'll tell me the answer, you know, but all we can do is hold the space. And that's the beauty of, I think, this year has been, we have been forced to hold space because we haven't been able to leave most places.
No, not at all.
It's been nuts.
And yes.
Yeah. So now I guess it's so weird because I feel like there's going to be so much happening where we're going to have to pivot. Where do you see wellness going? I mean, honestly,
Up. I mean, there's been studies already, like 26%, and, you know, of people taking initiative now where they want to take care of themselves, which is great. I mean, because, you know, being Americans, you know, it's either, I feel like we're in this generation right now where it's like we're all about health and wellness. I think, you know, the pandemic really opened a lot of people's eyes as well, but how important it is, just as much as we fuel our body, how much as we work out, it's no different than recovering the body.
Yeah.
So I see it growing and booming, and, you know, that's my goal, obviously, as well. But I just want to keep helping people. That's always been my passion.
Yeah.
And I want to make people feel good. It's not, you know, I have a girl that's coming in right now that's 26 that has lupus. That touched my heart because it's like, you know, the whole lupus, and then with being in the family, and she's on chemo. She asked her physician, and her dad bought her for Christmas a founding membership, and she's coming, you know, weekly. And then I have all the way to a 79-year-old lady. So it just tells you right there the dynamic is all over. and that people are starting to take care of themselves, which is so important.
Yeah. And I like that recharge is not preachy. You know, there's a lot of health and wellness places that just come at you with, we are the all-knowing, this is the way to be healthier, better, you know, inside and out, and I am your guru. And it's like, whoa, a lot of times we just need a place to start from. And we need permission to discover where we are capable of going. And I think that has been such a, I don't know, it's been something that has changed in me quite a bit, because again, I wanted to have the answers all the time. And why I love going to your place and the environment is it's just about sharing what you've learned and saying, hey, let's see if this works for you. How did you feel? You know, do you feel okay? Do you feel better than okay? And again, it's that interesting place where now I'm excited to see what health, medical field will now do with quote unquote wellness, because it's been so the woo woo. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, because she's really put out all of the stuff she's learned about and been like, hey, you know, you be the judge, but this is what I've discovered. And, you know, some people criticize her for, you know, experimental things that, you know, I get it. Sometimes it won't work for people, but I love that she struck up the conversation. Who has come in? Have you had anybody that has been like, you know, a lot of questions are coming at you hard?
Yes. It's so funny because everyone, you say that, is the power nap. Everyone, you know, and I tell them honestly, like you said, I'm like, you know, hey, you can give it a try. You're not going to fall asleep probably your first time. I honestly did not. So I just love being straightforward with everybody about that, because people are like, oh, this power nap, I just want to see if this is real, you know, this bogus. Yeah. And it's like, no, how about you guys just try it out yourself? I want to hear the negative feedback and positive feedback so I can change what I need to change as well to make this better for everybody else in a fitted area. And then a lot of people think they know what infrared is as well. And as we know, every single person that's came in, it's so funny. People have done plunges, you know, to the cold, and they're like, oh, yeah, we do sauna all the time. Like, I don't think you understand. And they're like, oh, I didn't. I was like, yeah, 45 minutes is a little different. Than, you know, a normal sauna. And they're like, whoa, I feel so good. Like, it's weird, you know, you sweat, as you know, and when you get out of the pods, it's like you sweat, you're drenched, but you cool off so much faster than a normal sauna, or like a normal sauna. It's hard to breathe for so long. So I just love people actually trying it, and you know, and then seeing all the reactions after, like Normatec, everyone's like, oh, I feel like air after. You know, they're like, oh, I can move.
It's like your skin is alive.
Yes.
It's funny because I just did a podcast with this gal named R.C. Hahn, and her word, she talks a lot about like resiliency, and it was funny because recharge, it's got the R's going on, and I was telling her about recharge, and the one thing that was interesting that we were talking a lot about was when people go into things, because I think this year has kind of unfortunately made us all into doomsday people. A lot of us are like, well, I'm going to hope for the best, but I'm going to plan for the worst. And what we talked about on the last podcast, and what I think is interesting about going into recharge, is to keep your brain open and your mind open, your body open. Because, you know, usually if you go in with the worst case scenario, the funny thing is it usually doesn't happen.
No, you come out better. Matter of fact.
Exactly. Yes. And I think people, their imagination is far worse than what is actually going to happen to them.
Yes.
And it is a rarity when something horrifying or tragic happens. And I think that, again, it's good to be aware and be prepared. But when we start to create these horror stories about, well, and you're already going in with this attitude where I'm like, oh my God, I've changed that about me.
Yes.
Because to me,
it goes back to almost judging.
Yes.
It's all, you know, and that's a lot, I believe, my friend believes, is that's how the Midwest is. And recharge, this is all new to the Midwest, a lot of these technologies. I mean, there are places that have one or two, but there's not a place that's all three. And like you said, just going into the unknown.
Yeah.
That's what, when your brain, you just walk in, and then when they get there, it's hilarious to see everyone's facial expressions at first. Like, whoa, like this is actually a legit cool place.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, what do you want to try? You know, and I give them the rundown. But like you said, it's all about, we're so bad about judging. And people, you know, then it's like the telephone game even. Oh, he said, she said, you know, and it's like when somebody leaves, you know, and it's like, why don't you go for your own experience?
Yeah.
People are so quick to just judge, and then that's it. And then there you go.
Yeah. So going forward, I actually asked RC this question, and that's where we started to talk about, like I'm leaving in 2020, what I'm leaving behind is my fear-based thoughts of like, what's the absolute worst? So in 2020, what are you going to leave behind?
All the bullshit. If you want to know the honest God truth, all of it. I don't care what anyone thinks, and I need to get, because I'm too nice, and I've always gotten ran over. Yeah. So it's like, no, Jen, leave behind everything. If you want to judge me, go for it. I don't care, because my priorities are me, my girls, and my family. That's it. So it's just leave everything behind. Yeah. What the past is the past. Does that define you? No. No. Not at all. No. And that's what I want to leave behind.
I love it. What are you overstuffing in your suitcase and bringing into 2021 from 2020? What have you learned that you're bringing into 2021?
Basically, going through that divorce has really taught me a ton, and being a single mom, basically the last 3.5 years. Yeah. So, and losing the most important one, that I couldn't pick up the phone and call anymore. Yeah. So what I want to bring into this is knowing I'm not alone. No. It's okay to talk it out. It's okay, you know, to lean on. I was so hard to lean on anybody because, you know, I was hiding everything for so long too, you know, putting on a fake face, you know, and it's like having that big D word, divorce. I'm like, oh gosh, you know, here we are. Yeah. You know, so hard to swallow and being on both sides of the families. It's like, oh, here I am. I'm the first one. Am I the failure? You know, but I did everything to try and save it. Is he a bad person? Absolutely not. We just grew apart, bottom line. And so it's like, here we are. I'm going to leave it all behind, but I'm also going to bring what I learned from behind into 2021. That everything it's okay. At the end of the day, we have to live in the moment. I'm really bad about living, oh gosh, what's going to happen in the future? Worrying. I'm a worry word. Like my mom, you know, type A. It's just like my brain goes 100 miles an hour. What's going to happen this day? What's going to happen next week? Oh my gosh, Jen, I have this much to do. Christmas is almost here. So we're all guilty. We're like, oh shit, we have all this stuff to do. And it's like, you know, live in the moment. I'm only stressing myself out and hurting myself out when I'm not in the moment. Yeah. We need to just live in the moment.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. So for listeners and viewers who are listening to the podcast, what's the best way that they can, if they're interested in discovering recharge and like, what's their way to dip their toe in if they're a little pensive? And if there's someone who's just like, all right, I'm all in, what are the best ways to get in contact with you and to set stuff up?
No, that's a great question. So fortunately, again, learning, being an entrepreneur, we've had our ins and outs with the website. So right now, Instagram would be the first great way to reach out. Direct message us or call us, and then after the first of the year, everything will be launched online, so you can go and book your own appointment, see what's available. So I'm super, super excited to get everything, just all my ducks in a row. And then if you're scared, I think you really just need to go do your research. If you don't feel comfortable, everything is scientifically backed up. That's why I chose what I did as well. So you can go online, go to our Instagram. We have a stock landing page. It even has everything that you need to know about the technology, or come in. You don't have to do a session. Yeah. Come in, see the place, check it out, sit on it a while, think on it, and then you can make that decision yourselves.
I'm so excited for people to try this out, to watch it grow, because I think it's needed. I think that it's going to be a game changer for just the overall attitude of people who are in the health and wellness industry, because I do think that there are so many misconceptions about where we should be going and our limitations. And that's the wonderful thing, is that with Recharge, there's just a way to open up possibilities for your body that you may have not even considered before. So I definitely encourage you to check it out. Your Instagram, is it Recharge Casey?
Casey. Mm-hmm.
Recharge Casey.
Yep.
And then do you have Facebook as well?
I do.
Yeah.
It's Recharge-Casey.
All right. Very cool.
Yes.
Other than that, I like to kind of put a bow on everything. And I'm going to ask you, just if you have, I don't know, if your daughters are going to be listening to this in a couple years from now, I don't know, what's your wish for them hearing this and getting to learn about you?
Don't stop. Keep going. It's not the end. If the Recharge doesn't make it, guess what? That's a learning curve. You're not a failure. You're on to the new chapter.
Yeah.
So to keep going. Don't ever give up. Yeah. It's not the end of the world. There's a new chapter in life. But go for your dreams. Shoot for them. Don't stop.
I love it. Well, girls, you heard it
emotional,
from your mama.
So it's like,
I love it.
Like
well, those are great words. And the thing is that I think Recharge is a great freaking name because it's recharging your spirit, recharging your heart. It's recharging your life.
Yes.
And you should be really, really proud of what you're doing. I'm so excited to be a part of this with you. I am literally addicted. And I don't have people on the podcast that either one, I don't believe in, or number two, I am already like sold through and through. And I am so looking forward to growing our friendship and watching your business grow and being a part of it. And I wish you and your girls all the best.
Thank
and I think
you.
2021 is going to be your year, girl.
Thank you.
I think
I wish you nothing but the best as well, and continue to keep you guys in your team.
For sure.
So,
thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, guys, thank you for listening to the Seraphine podcast. What a great way to close 2020. If you haven't already, please support a sister and subscribe, just support a girl, you know? I appreciate it. And let me know. Tell me if you like this episode and if there are really cool people in your life that need their stories told. I really enjoyed this, and thank you again.
Thank you.
All right.
Keep going, everyone.
Definitely. Check out Recharge. See you later.